This is section 2.2, day 3 of simplifying expressions. Today you're going to learn how to factor algebraic expressions using properties of operation. Let's start with our vocabulary. First word is greatest common factor. That is the greatest number that goes into each term. Greatest common factor should not be a new word for you. We're just going to use it a little differently. Factoring is our new word. We're going to use the distributive property to rewrite an addition expression as a product of two factors. So we are basically going to undo the distribution that we learned about before. So let's start. 4x plus 14. We need to start by finding the GCF of 4x and 14. Basically, we can ignore the x in this and just see what is the GCF of 4 and 14. We know that is 2. So we're going to take our 2. And we're going to think in our heads. Inside of our parentheses will be 2 times what gives me 4x. Well, 2 times 2x gives me 4x. And then 2 times what gives me 14? 7. There's a plus in between, so a plus goes in the middle, and we close our parentheses. That's how we factor. So in B, our GCF, what goes into 12 and 6? 6. So I write a 6 down and start my parentheses. 6 times what makes 12y? 6 times 2y. 6 times what makes 6? 1. There's a minus up top, so I put a minus in my answer and close my parentheses. That is factored. If I wanted to check my answer, all I'm going to do is distribute and see if I get the same thing that I started with. So let's try a couple. In the first one, 9x plus 15. What is the GCF of 9 and 15? Well, it is 3. 3 times what makes 9x? 3 times 3x. 3 times what makes 15? 5. There's a plus, so I put a plus and close my parentheses. For B, 36 plus 24t, what is the greatest common factor of 36 and 24? It is actually 12. 12 times what makes 36? 3. 12 times what makes 24t? 2t. I put a plus in between because there's a plus in my problem, and close the parentheses. And for letter C, 8c minus 20, what is the GCF of 8 and 20? It is 4. Start my parentheses. 4 times what makes 8c? 4 times 2c makes 8c. 4 times what makes 20? 4 times 5 makes 20. There's a minus in the problem, so I put a minus in my answer and close the parentheses. All right, try these two. Letter A and letter B, factor these. All right, for letter A, we're actually going to make it a little trickier. We're going to change it into a sum first. Negative 16 and negative 24, the greatest common factor here is actually negative 8. Negative 8 times what makes negative 16x? 2x. Plus, because there's a plus sign, negative 8 times what makes negative 24? 3. If you had a positive 8 times negative 2x minus 3, that would be an okay answer, but the best answer is to factor out the negative 8. Anytime you see a negative in the front and a minus. All right, for B, it's not as tricky. Our greatest common factor is 5. 5 times what makes negative 15? Negative 3. And 5 times what makes 10x? 2x. A plus in the middle because there's a plus in the problem, and we're done. Try these two. All right, for the first one, our greatest common factor is 2. 2 times what makes 8x? 4x. 2 times what makes 10? 5. Put a minus in the middle and close our parentheses. For letter B, our greatest common factor is 9. 9 times what makes 27x? 3x. 9 times what makes 36? 4. Put a plus in the middle and close our parentheses. And two last ones for you to try. For the first one, our greatest common factor is 4. 4 times what makes negative 12x? Negative 3x. 4 times what makes 16? 4. A plus in the middle since there's a plus in the problem. And B is interesting. We can actually factor a 3-term expression. The greatest common factor of 9, 18, and 33 is 3. So 3 times 3x makes 9x. A minus 3 times 6y makes 18y. A plus 3 times 11z makes 33z, and close our parentheses. That is okay. Your steps to factor an expression. Step 1, combine like terms if possible first. Step 2, determine the largest number that goes into all coefficients and constants. Step 3, place that number in front of the parentheses. Step 4, divide each term by the number determined in Step 2 and write these new terms inside the parentheses. Your assignment is the factoring quiz, or factoring